All right. Okay, guys, it's up on the screen right now. Tyler, Scott, Dylan, Andy, John's not here, and Mark, race 1. Mark, if you're not going to be ready, just let me know, and I'll move someone from race 2 into your race. Okay, Mark's not going to be ready. Anyone want to go into race 1? James? All right, James is going to be in race 1. So Tyler, Scott, Dylan, Andy, James, and Mark, race 1. Dave, do you want to race in race 1? All right. You keep flashing my screen anyway, so there you go. You're now in race 1. So it's Scott, Dylan, Andy, Mark, and Dave. Any other changes? Everyone else out to Marshall? James, you racing in this one or what? Welcome. Is your stuff charged? Hey, John, are you ready to go right into this one, or should I pop someone else up there? I wasn't expecting you until after round 1. All right, get her up there. Okay, so we're just going to wait for John, and then we'll get things rolling here. Remember, guys, we are going to do round 1 and 2 back-to-back, and then we will take our break. All right, lineup will be Scott, Dylan, Andy, Dave, James, and John. You want to run a lap, John? No. We'll all watch him run a couple laps in that low Z he's got there. No one's watching. You're right. I don't know. That car looks pretty dialed to me. Well, it is a low Z, right? Is that it? That's all you need? All right. Scott, Dylan, Andy, Dave, James, and John. Once again, Scott, Dylan, Andy, Dave, James, and John. Who are we missing the marshal? Tyler. He's trying to fix his car, though, right? I thought there was one more missing, too, though. All right, so we're good. Here we go. Scott on the tone. Dylan. Andy. Dave. James. John. First qualifier up and running here. Hot lap going to, looks like Andy. 11:22. All right, this is everyone's third lap in, calling it out on the 4. Just going to wait for James to hit the loop to call the top 2 here. Andy, 27.501. Scott, actually, 26.505. James, 5.05. Dave, 25.504. John, 5.10. And Dylan on the 21. Fast lap overall going to James with a 10.93 right now. As he moves back into the number 2 spot, it is now Andy, James, Dave, John, Scott, and Dylan. Guys making mistakes. Watch straight. Stay tight, guys. Stay tight. Or not. Watch straight. All right, getting down here. 3-minute mark. Still Andy on the top, the only one on the 27-lap pace. That is the yellow and orange buggy going down the straight right now, 27.502. Dave now moves into that number 2 spot in the green and silver, 25.501. James in the blue and white, 25.507, sitting in third with the fast lap, 10.92. John moves in that number 4 spot, also on a 25.511. Scott on the 24.506 and Dylan on the 21.503. With 1:40 left to go, Andy still holding this 27-lap pace, 27.501. Holds it there. His fast lap is at 10.97. Right behind James, who has the fastest lap overall with that 10.92. James now sitting in the number 2 spot. currently running 26,508. Dave, 25,505. John, 25,512. Scott, 24,506. And Dylan on the 22. Dylan's parked, actually.
One minute left.
Watch straight. Clear. Hey, Brett, can you turn Dylan's car off the pole when you get a chance? Getting down here to our 30-second mark. James puts down a new fast lap, 1070 flat. Still sitting in second. Andy at the top, 27,501. James, 26,504. John now moves in the third, 25,510. Scott, 24,502. Dave, 24,503. And Dylan on that in that parking spot.
Car 2 is done.
Scott, you are done.
Car 7 is done.
Dave.
Car 4 is done.
Andy. There's
Car 8 is
James.
done. Car
Dylan
3
and
is
John's the last one live. Oh. Dave, you were all done, eh? Yes. All right, Andy taking that one, 27,505. James came in second. John took third. Scott fourth. Dave, then Dylan. Fast lap overall going to James, 1070. All right, so we got Brandon, JB, Brett, Darren, Tyler. And anyone else that didn't run in the first round. Oh, Mark. That's who I'm missing is Mark. Still looking for one more Marshall from the back. Oh, there we go. Scott coming out. Yeah, we're good. All right. Straight is shut down. Let's get you lined up. Brandon, JB, Brett, Darren, Tyler, and Mark. Once again, Brandon, JB, Brett, Darren, Tyler, and Mark. Marshall's ready. Driver's ready. Brandon on tone. JB. Brett. Darren. Tyler. And Mark. Hot lap going to Mark, 1191. Yellow and white buggy. Well, you can't see that because you're looking at his chassis. Calling it out on Brett, 25,503. JB, 25,509. Mark, 24,501. Brandon, 24,512. Tyler on the 22. Darren on the 20. Fast lap overall going to JB, 1129. Tyler. Well, that was 3 laps. Watch small table, guys. Nice move, Mark. Mark currently sitting at the top. It's Mark, Brett, JB, Brandon, and Darren. 3:15 left on the clock. There's Mark hitting our loop on the 25,503. Brett, 25,511. JB, 24,503. Holding fast lap 1129. Brandon, 24,506. And Darren on the 21,510. Top 3 drivers on the 25, Mark, Brett, and JB. JB and Brett back and forth. Don't get too excited there, Brett. Race isn't over yet. You had 2 minutes, 45 seconds. Keep it together, buddy. Although JB just put down another fast lap, 11:11, pushed himself into that number 2 spot. Mark, though, now up on the 26,511. Let's see what he does when he hits the loop here. 26,510. Here's JB. 25,504. Brett not far behind him, though, 509. Here he is hitting the loop. Holds it there. Brandon sitting that number 4 spot, 23,501. Darren on the 21.5 flat. We go 3 down, 2 left to go. Mark, JB, Brett, Brandon, and Darren. Minute 25 left on the clock. Yellow and white, my number 1 out there. Yellow and blue's my number 2. White with the black wing is 3. Mark running 26,508. JB 26,510 puts down a fast lap at 10:96. Brett in that number 3 spot, 25,507. Brandon 24,504. And Darren on the 22.5 flat. 60 seconds left to go. Twenty seconds left to go. Mark, JB, Brett, Brandon, and Darren. There's the tone. Brandon, you are done.
Car 4 is done.
JB.
Car
Brett.
5 is done.
Darren, Mark is still live. Last one. There it is.
Done.
Mark taking that one 26.505. JB 25.504 with the fast lap 10.96. Brett, you were so close. 25.505 right behind him. Brandon 24.501 and Darren 23.507. Right into round 2, guys. We will take a break after round 2. That'll let Dylan get in 2 races before he has to leave. Everyone out to Marshall with the exception of Tyler. Get your car fixed up, Tyler. That's it. Get that out of your system, Dylan. Hey, Dylan, you're not allowed to park in that spot. That's a no parking zone right now. You got to drive. All right, you guys came out pretty quick. Thank you. Round 2. Currently, Andy holding TQ 27.505. All right, guys, let's get you lined up. Andy, James, John, Scott, Dave, and Dylan. Andy, James, John, Scott, Dave, and Dylan. Drivers ready? Andy on the tone. James, John, Scott, Dave, Dylan. All right, looks like hot lap going to Andy, 10.99. Puts a TQ marker up right away. TQ markers on my 1 and 2. Andy hitting the loop 28.509 with a 10.81 fast lap. Yellow and orange buggy, yellow wheels, stay out of his way. James also with a TQ marker 27.503 in that number 2 spot. He actually just bumped up to the top. Oh, back down. Andy and James both 27.503. Dave sitting in that number 3 spot 26.507. John 25.505. Scott on the 22.506. Dylan on the 19. Focus on tight lines, Dylan. 3:15 left on the clock. Andy's still holding TQ 27.501 with a 10.81 fast lap. Here he is hitting the loop. He's 27.502. James dropped off just a little bit. Hits the loop with a 26.503. Here's Dave, currently sitting on our number 3 spot, 26.510. John on the 25.512. Scott on the 24.511. And Dylan on the 21. Andy, James, Dave, Scott, John, and Dylan. 2:10 left on the clock. Top 2 drivers on the 27-lap pace. Andy is holding TQ 27.501. Breaks that down to a 5.0 flat. Looks like he might make it back up to that 28-lap pace. Holding fast lap 10.81. James in that number 2 spot, 27.509. He's got second fastest lap with a 10.82. Dave holding on in this number 3 spot, 26.507. Scott, 24.504. John, 23.510. Dylan on the 22.514. I think he's got a link.
One minute left.
60 seconds left to go. Andy is now on the 28-lap pace, 28.510. James sitting 27.507. Dave 26.509. Scott 25.512. John 23.501. Andy's previous TQ 27.505. See if he holds on to this 28-lap pace. Andy, James, Dave, Scott, John. "15 seconds left to go." There's the tone.
Car 9 is
John, you are done. Dylan, Andy. Photo finish for James. Dave, Scott, just flash them over. That's good.
Car 2 is done.
Andy taking it, pushing the TQ spot up 28.510 with the fast lap 10.81. It was 10.81.2 to James's 10.81.5. James came in second, 27.510. Dave 26.508. Scott 25.516. John 23.501. And Dylan finished on 25.01. Mark, JB, Brett, Brandon, Darren, and Tyler. All right, guys, going to shut down the straight, get you lined up. Lineup is Mark, JB, Brett, Brandon, Darren. Okay, everyone, shh, shh. I need everyone to be ultra quiet for a second. Oh, there he is. Okay, you can make noise now. Is it good? Just hit the loop when you're ready, Tyler. I just want to make sure everything's good. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I made that mistake. Drive across it. Mark, JB, Brett, Brandon, Darren, and Tyler. Drivers ready? Mark on the tone. JB, Brett, Brandon, Darren, Tyler. Round 2, race 2. That was close. It's good, though. Hot lap did go to Mark with 11:46. All right, here we go. Brett at the top, 26,510. Brandon, 25,501. Mark, 505. JB, 506. Darren, 24,508. Tyler on the 18. Fast lap going to Mark, 11:23. Mark bumps up to the top spot. Let's see if Brett can take him down. Holds him. No. Mark, 26,509. Brett, 510. The only two on the 26-lap pace right now. JB sitting at number 3 spot. Brandon in the 4. Darren in the 5. Tyler in the 6. 3:25 left on the clock. Mark now holding fast lap 11:15. That white buggy is my number 2 out there. He's living the dream right now. He's ahead of JB. He's living the dream. That's about to change, though.
8 minutes left.
Don't get rattled, Brett. You got this. You can take Mark out, though. Nice buggy, James. All right, 2:40 on the clock. Mark going down the straight. Only one on the 26, 26,508, holding fast lap, 10.95. Here's Brett, currently sitting my number 2 spot, 25,505. Brandon on the 24, 507. JB, 23,506. Darren, 23,513. Tyler still out there? Yeah, okay. Tyler on the 17. Pull it together, Brett. Come on, keep it together. You, believe it or not, Brett, before you hit my loop, you were at the top of my screen. Mark made a mistake and you bumped up and back down. You'll have to go watch that later. While you bang your head against the wall. Why? Minute 35 left. Here comes Mark hitting the loop. And our number 2, Mark, 25,506 with 10.9 fast lap. Brett, 24,508. Brandon, 509. JB, 512. Darren on the 22. Tyler on the 19.
1 minute left.
60 seconds left to go. It is Mark, Brandon, JB, Brett, Darren, and Tyler. "30 seconds left. Mark on that 25, Brandon, JB, and Brett all on the 24, close together, 5:04, 5:05, and 5:07. Darren holding on that 22, Tyler on the 19. There's the tone.
Car 4 is done.
JB, you
Car
are
8 is
done.
done.
Mark is done. Here we go. When you guys hit the
Car
loop,
3
you'll be
is
done.
done.
Brandon,
Car
Brett,
5 is done. Car 7
Tyler,
is done.
and
Car
Darren.
6 is done.
Mark taking that one 25, 5:03. JB came in second, 24-5 flat with the fast lap overall, 10:90. Brandon took third, 24-5:04. Brett right behind him, 5:06. Darren on the 22, 5:06, and Tyler on the 19, 5:03. All right, so we are going to take a 10-minute break. When we get back, it is Brett, John, Scott, Brandon, Darren, and Tyler for race 1. Race 2 will be Andy, James, Mark, Dave, and JB. See that spot? Race 2, bottom. Brett, do you see that? Do you see my little hand moving around there? That could have been your spot. You were so close. All right, guys, we're going to get going with round 3, two-wheel buggy. Brett, John, Scott, Brandon, Darren, and Tyler. All right, guys, going to close the straight. Get you lined up. Brett, John, Scott, Brandon, Darren, and that's it. Once again, Brett, John, Scott, Brandon, and Darren. Got to be difficult, eh? All right, drivers ready. Brett on the tone. Scott. Brandon. And Darren. Don't worry about John, Brett. He's driving a Losi. Hot lap went to Scott, 12:03. All right, Scott at the top of the screen, 25.502. Brett, 5:06. John, sorry, make that Brandon, 24.511. John, 23.501. And Darren on the 20. Fast lap overall so far going to John. Nope, up to Scott now, 11:34. So it's Scott, Brett, Brandon, John, and Darren. Scott now on a 26 lap pace. As the green and white buggy out there. Brett sitting in that number 2 spot in the white buggy, but he is on a 24.5 flat. Brandon 5:03. John 5:10, and then Darren on the 22.5 flat. 3:15 left to go.
Three minutes left.
Brandon now moves into the number 2 spot behind Scott. Scott running 26.511. Brandon 25.508. Brett 5:10. John on the 24.502. Darren now on the 23.504. Scott still holding fast lap 11.34. 2:25 left on the clock.
Two minutes left.
A minute 40 left to go. Scott running 26.509. Brandon 25. Sorry, John in that number 2 spot, 25.509. Brandon 5:12, sitting in third. Then we got Brett 24.502 and Darren 23.509.
One minute left.
Scott, John, Brandon, Brett, and Darren. Scott on that 26, John on the 25, Brandon and Brett on the 24, and Darren on the 23. Fast lap still being held by Scott, 11:34. "35 seconds left to go." "20 seconds left. It's still Scott, John, Brandon, Brett, and Darren. There's the tone.
Car 2 is
Scott,
done.
you are
Car
done.
5
Brett
is done.
and John.
Car
There's
6 is
Darren.
done.
Brandon is still live. Brandon is still live, the only one live. There
Car
it is.
3 is
Scott's
done.
going to take it 25.501 with the fast lap overall, 11:34. John 25.504. Brandon 5:14. Brett 24.504. And Darren 23.5 flat. Andy, James, Mark, Dave, and JB. All right, on that note, we'll get you guys lined up. Andy, James, Mark, Dave, and JB. Drivers ready. Andy on the tone. James, Mark, Dave, JB. Hot lap going to Andy, 11:10. Andy's TQ 28.510. Last chance to get it. All right, Andy on the 27.502, holding fast lap 10.90. James 27.504. Mark 27.511. Dave on the 26.503. JB on the 24.506. All right, TQ markers beside Andy and James' name, both of them on the 28-lap pace. Andy 28.509, James 28.510. Andy's fast lap 10.79, James 10.80. Dave sitting in the number 3 spot. Sorry, make that mark 26.5 flat. Dave also 5 flat. And then JB on the 24.502. Andy and James now both TQ 28.509. 3 minutes left to go. In that lap, James bumps up to the top spot. One and two hitting the straight here. James 28.508, Andy 509. Mark hitting the loop, currently sitting in third, 27.510. Dave on the 26.505, JB 23.501, 2:30 left to go. Blue and white, my 1. Yellow and orange, my 2. Yellow and white, my 3. James now the only one on the 28-lap pace on TQ 28.508. Andy sitting 27.503. Mark 27.510. Dave 26.507. And JB 24.504. 2 minutes left to go. Andy puts down another fast lap, 10.77. Minute 10 left to go. James still on the TQ pace, 28.507. Andy 27.5 flat, holding that fast lap, 10.77. Dave 26.507. Mark 26.511. JB 23.507. .30 seconds left to go. James, Andy, Dave, Mark, JB. There's the tone.
Car 4
Andy,
is done.
you are done.
Car 7
Dave,
is done. Car 1
Mark,
is done. Car 8
James, and JB.
is done. Car 2 is
James taking the TQ spot, 28.508. Andy came in second, 27.504 with the fast lap overall, 10.77. Dave, 25.502. Mark, 25.504. And JB, 23.506. All right, guys, we're going to get going in about 8 minutes here. Race 1 will be JB, John, Brett, Brandon, Darren, and Tyler. Current A-main group, James, Andy, Mark, Dave, and Scott. One bump up to that A-main. All right, guys, we are going to get going with the mains. JB, John, Brett, Brandon, Darren, and Tyler. Tyler, you ready now? What? JB, John, and Brett. 1, 2, and 3. Not on top of each other, but on the lines. Nope, don't hit it. This is a training day. You know why that's left up like that? Because Darren likes to hit it. This is a training day. After Brett, we had Brandon, then Darren. You're welcome. Are you scared to hit that, Dave? Are you scared to hit that? Good. Marshall's ready. Driver's ready. Everyone on the tone. JB out in front first. Oh, look at that. Should have done a track repair. All right, our number 1 is JB. Down the straight, John in the number 2. Brandon, Brett, and Darren. JB holding fast lap right now, 11-14. Oh, he needs a marshal, though. Might help John out. John was almost 6 seconds off his pace here. Now only 1.8 behind. Brandon 2
4
seconds
minutes
off
left.
of John's pace, holding third. Brett in that number 4 spot, Darren in the 5. 4 minutes left to go. John now at the top of the screen, the black buggy. Yellow wheels in the back is my 1. JB in the number 2. In the yellow and blue, there's 1 and 2 going down the straight. Second apart. Sitting in third, Brandon. 2.5 behind, trying to close the gap up here.
3
John
minutes
flips
left.
over. JB makes it back out front again. Down the straight they go. 3 minutes left on the clock. John 1.3 seconds behind JB, trying to close the gap up. Brandon 1.4 behind John, holding third. We got Brett in the number 4 spot, Darren in the 5. May see a battle here between second and third. Watch straight, guys. Stay tight in the straight. Yellow and blue buggy is my number 1. Black buggy the 2. Not anymore. Brandon moves into that number 2 spot. John in the 3. Darren now in the number 4 spot. Brett in the 5. As we get down here to our 2-minute mark.
2 minutes left.
Brandon, 5.5 seconds off the pace of the leader, sitting in second place right now. John in the number 3. He's 2 seconds behind Brandon. We got 1:30 left to go. Darren in the number 4, Brett in the number 5. Fast lap still being held by JB, 11:14.
One minute left.
60 seconds left to go. JB in the number 1 spot. Brandon in the 2, 5 seconds behind the pace of the leader. John sitting in that number 3 spot. He's also 5 seconds behind Brandon. Then we've got Darren in the 4, Brett in the 5. .25 seconds left on the clock. We may see a battle here. Brandon and John. Brandon coming into the straight. John 2 seconds behind. Only 10 seconds left on the clock. John ain't gonna make it. There it is. John, you are done.
Car 4 is done.
JB's done. Darren.
Car
JB
3 is
getting the
done.
bump. Brandon
Car 5
took
is
second.
done.
John in third. Darren, then Brett. Fastest lap overall going to JB, 11:14. Do I have to fix a piece of pipe down there, Dave? All right, we're closing the straight. Let's get you guys lined up. James, Andy, Mark, Dave, Scott, and JB. That looks good. Except for Mark's got to sneak in there still. Doesn't that explain why he's sitting on the crate? You're welcome. Just messing with you. 6 minutes on the clock. Driver's ready. Everyone on the tone. Ain't going to be one in the first lap. Not unless you break every other car. Look at this. James, Andy, Dave, Mark, Scott, and JB. Nice. 11:55, James' first lap through. 10:99 now. James hitting the loop, number 1. Andy in the 2, half a second apart between 1 and 2. Mark sitting in the number 3 spot, 1.8 seconds behind. He's got Scott, JB, and Dave behind him.
5 minutes left.
Mark closed up that gap a little bit on that last lap. It was 2 seconds. It's 2.5, dropping back just a little bit, holding third. Scott in that number 4 spot. Dave and JB. Fast laps for our top 2 right now. James 10:71, Andy 10:73. Andy now 1.5 seconds behind James. Mark's still holding this number 3 spot here. 2.5 seconds behind Andy. We got JB and Dave.
Four minutes left.
James flips over. Andy's going to move into that number 1 spot. 4 minutes left to go. James currently 2.5 seconds off of Andy's pace. Andy hitting the loop with a 10.9. James with an 11.1. Still 2.5 seconds behind. Mark now only 1.5 seconds behind James, holding third. Scott in the number 4 spot, and JB and Dave. Fast laps, Andy 10:73, James 10:70. Stay tight in the straight, guys. Stay tight in the straight. Ooh, watch the end. Watch the end of the straight. Watch the apex of that corner. Leader's coming through. Getting down to our 3-minute mark, halfway point here.
3 minutes left.
James only 1.5 seconds behind Andy now. Mark holding that number 3 spot, 4 seconds behind. Dave moves into that number 4 spot. Scott in the 5, JB in the 6. .230 left on the clock. Andy with a little fumble. 1 and 2 are going to be tight together here now. Less than half a second apart. At the off camber, tight together. Oh, James was trying with the inside pass. He waits. Good. Thank you. Gave him a little knock there. Pulled it back out, and then he flips over. Gets back out, but now he's got Mark all over him. Getting down to our 2-minute mark.
2 minutes left.
James, 2.5 behind Andy. Mark, 0.8 behind James now. Dave still holding the number 4 spot. Scott in the 5, JB in the 6. Leader down the straight, 1, 2. James staying 1.5 behind. See if he can close this gap up and catch him. 1:30 left to go. Andy put down a 10.8 on that lap. James a 10.7. James still holding a 2.5 behind. Mark holding in 3rd, was 3 seconds behind. He's getting marshaled. Dave in that number 4 spot. Scott,
1
JB,
minute left.
there it is, 60 seconds left to go. 1 and 2 tighter together here, 1/2 second apart into our last minute. Gonna be dealing with some traffic. .6 second gap between Andy and James. James rolls it over. Looked like he was going to try and take the inside tight. Didn't work out. 30 seconds left to go. James is now 3.5 seconds behind the leader. Mark in the number 3. Dave, Scott, and JB. Ten seconds left, James. Go for the hero lap. Oh.
Car 4 is done.
Andy, you are done taking the win on this one.
Car
Nice
1 is
racing, guys. That was awesome, actually, for all yous.
Car 9 is done.
Good
Car
job.
2 is done.
So Andy taking the top spot there. His fast lap was a 10.73. James in second. He had the fast lap overall with a 10.70. Mark in third with an 11.03. Dave 11.05. Scott 11.19. And JB 10.97.